So from the movie theater to the ones that produce some of these movies, and I want to invite Bob Simonds on stage, who is the chairman and CEO of STX Entertainment. So give Bob a round of applause, please. So we talked a little bit about firsts. So Bob, what was your first movie experience?
Oh my God.
In the cinema, yeah, sorry.
I think that was probably seeing Mary Poppins, and my mother tells me I actually got out of my seat and started dancing in the aisles. Not very, not very respectable, but yeah, it's magical.
Good, so probably a lot have happened since Mary Poppins, and especially in the way that you talk about your own media company, because you call it a next generation media company. What do you mean by that?
So it's actually interesting. I was listening to Oliver Stone talk backstage, and a lot of the difficulties he was kind of complaining about, which are very real, is that distribution and marketing have become ferociously expensive. So we looked at the landscape and believe that entertainment is one of the greatest opportunities for disruption in any market. And we said, if you're going to build a new media company today, it's not going to look anything like a traditional Warner Brothers or Sony or Paramount. These companies are run by incredibly talented and incredibly smart guys, but they've got a business model that was developed 60, 70 years ago. So they've kept adding on more and more divisions. But ultimately, it's a bit like if I gave you a cruise liner from the 30s and said, here, make this better for today's passenger, there's not a whole lot you could do to retrofit it. But if you started with a blank piece of paper, you'd find yourself being able to build something that, other than the fact that it carries people and travels on water, has nothing to do with the technology, the materials, the design, the anything. So that's how we approached the business. And one of the main things we went after were costs, so that we can actually we can make these movies and tell these stories in a way that makes sense in today's environment. So to put this in perspective, it's kind of working. We're still figuring some stuff out, but it's working. So just this year, we've had 2 movies that have done north of $100 million in the domestic box office. And in perspective, Paramount has sort of 0, and Fox has 0, and Sony has 2, and we're achieving this with literally 1/10 the overhead and 70 to 80% less of the marketing spend.
I know that you have brought a film today that explains a little bit more about how you work. Could you just add a few words
Sure, yeah,
to that before we watch it?
Yeah, it was just we're a media company, so I had the guys throw together a couple minutes of some of our stuff, and then I can go in from there. But can you play?
Let's do that. Let's get
Thanks.
a little insight into STX Entertainment. So let's watch the film, please.
Thanks.
Do you ever look at your life and wonder how you got there?
It's a feeling can't describe. It's just you and the infinite horizon.
To succeed in the future, we must completely re-envision what we do.
They're going big.
Media convergence and multi-channel consumption can't be ignored.
All right.
STX harnesses technology to connect with consumers like never before, allowing us to deliver premium content to an engaged audience in a cost-effective manner.
Hell yeah!
With the power of this direct relationship with consumers, we present an opportunity that the industry can take advantage of now.
I'm all in.
2019 is XTX's biggest year ever, with 2 films grossing over $100 million each. The upside: we employ data and advanced analytics to become the first studio ever to structure an outcome-based media model, eliminating media waste and costs.
Oh my God! Somebody move my stool.
We utilized Kevin Hart's worldwide fan base of 140+ million social media followers to generate over $100 million in domestic box office alone.
Just relax. I am relaxed. This is me being relaxed.
Hustlers, we leveraged the massive social footprint of our cast's 234 million followers to deliver 100 million trailer views in just 72 hours.
Yes, girl!
Used moviegoer data to spend 3 times less on TV than other film studios, leading to an incredible result of $100 million domestic box office and counting. And we're just getting started.
It's like robbing a bank.
Might want to put that seatbelt on.
Lovely.
I love that.
Welcome to the land of the free.
It's looking at it from here, it's a little corny, but you get the idea.
And you've got 2 other films to add to your list of films to watch this winter, beside apparently Star Wars, so that's good as well. You bring up 2 very interesting aspects. One is data, and the second one is obviously harnessing the amazing talent that you showcase in these films. Could you talk a little bit about how do you utilize data? Because for me, data in Hollywood doesn't really...
Yeah, so it's a great question. Obviously, we're able to use data to make better, more focused marketing decisions. But ultimately, the holy grail is using data to make better content decisions. So first up, like what is a movie? A movie is essentially an emotional transaction you have with the audience. So the best way of describing it is you pay me money and I will change the way you feel. I'll make you laugh, I'll make you cry, I'll get you excited. And that emotional connection, we haven't yet figured out how to use data. But another part of it is that a movie is a theme or an idea with this emotion wrapped around it. And that's where we have been using data. So we have an interesting relationship right now with Google, Twitter, and Facebook. And we're algorithmically looking at the trends so that with, using as an example, Upside and Hustlers, the trends that we found was that class conflict were becoming increasingly relevant. And we wanted to do movies about class conflict. So The Upside was about a rich guy and a poor guy who we forced together, and in their relationship, their common humanity, their need for companionship sort of worked through that. But we were seeing that there was a desire on the part of the audience to sort of spend time in that idea. Similar thing with Hustlers. We found that not just was the class conflict very important, but we found a very underserved audience of women, particularly women of color, who were feeling disempowered. So these are the themes that we pushed, and then the filmmaker worked with us to craft hopefully emotionally compelling stories around that.
So in a way, a much more commercial approach to it rather than the director coming up with the guts feeling, I've got to tell this story. You actually explore the market before you go into production. The second thing I want to talk about is really how do you harness, obviously, these megastars, massive social media following, and obviously we all know that mass media is being challenged, and it's going much more towards some of these, megastars. So how can you add?
Sure. That's actually a part of our business model. We looked at Disney. Now, Disney is a phenomenally well-run company, and Disney realized a few years back that in a world of too many choices, one of the ways to cut through the noise is to go after a brand that has a built-in fan base and then monetize that fan base. So they bought brands like Pixar and Marvel and Star Wars. And that's how they're building their films. And again, remember, the films drive huge other businesses. So we said there's a very similar approach, which is there are certain globally branded stars who have a very rabid fan base, fans who care about what they're doing, and if that star is doing the kind of thing that made them famous, it's a way of cutting through the noise. So we actually identify those stars like a Kevin Hart or a Jennifer Lopez who we can activate their audience, and it's working out right now really well. You know, one of the cliches in Hollywood, just to differentiate, is that, you know, they say that actors choose great roles and movie stars or stars choose great movies. And they're different because actors don't have a built-in fan base. They're spectacular at adopting a different character in each movie. But ironically, stars sort of play the same character movie to movie to movie if they're actually doing what made them famous. And we've been focusing a lot on that.
So what I really like about this case, obviously, from STX is the way that you understand that there's a new media reality out there, that you understand that data can actually be a friend and not an enemy, and that can actually advise your decisions from early stage. How has Hollywood received this?
So far, we got every major star working with us. Yeah. I mean, remember this: if you're a star and you're in Hollywood and you're not wearing an Iron Man or Spider-Man outfit, you're not working as much as you used to. So part of us trying to crack the economics of how do you do this, how do you still focus on this space, has been incredibly attractive. I mean, you know, Adam was just out here. You know, the theatrical experience is incredibly important. It's still seen as the pinnacle of storytelling. You know, Netflix and Amazon and Hulu, these are great customers of ours. We make shows for them, and there are certain things that are right for that platform. But what sometimes gets lost in the dialogue is that no matter what is going on in the world, whatever mischief is happening, Monday morning people are still talking about what was #1 at the box office. It's still very relevant as part of the zeitgeist. And the whole premise is, if you're going to go to a movie, you know, a movie is supposed to be good enough to get you out of the comfort of your own home, drive across town, and go through all of what you need to go through to see it. And that then drives all the different revenue streams for the next few years. I see we're out of time.
Perfect, Bob. We'll talk a lot about that when you come back again. Thank you so much.